Welcome to our YouTube channel Premiere Next. Today again our partner James and Mary are here for latest entertainment update, so stay tuned till last.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take stacks of sources on really compelling global topics, and we pull out the key stuff you need to know.
That's the plan.
And today, wow, we are diving into just a massive cultural phenomenon, the Netflix hit, KPopDemonHunters.
Oh, yeah. Huge.
I mean, this thing didn't just land, it exploded, breaking records, topping charts. Everyone's calling it one of Netflix's biggest successes of 2025, right?
Absolutely. And our mission today, it's not just about, recapping the plot. We want to extract the blueprint.
The blueprint, okay.
Yeah, we're digging into the key insights. How did director Maggie Kang and the whole team manage to blend this dazzling world of K-pop with the really rich, sometimes pretty dark traditions of Korean folklore?
Okay, yeah, let's unpack that.
Yeah.
Because you've got these global superstars, these idols, who are also warriors, secretly.
Right.
And their music is literally a weapon. It sounds wild.
Yeah.
High fashion meets high fantasy.
And that fusion, it really starts with the intention behind it all.
Totally. The sources, they're pretty clear on the origin. You've got director Maggie Kang and co-director Chris Applehands. They basically wanted to imagine this universe where being a K-pop star came with this other huge responsibility.
An ancient legacy, yeah. It wasn't just a cool idea, it was baked into the core concept from the start.
Right, not just a gimmick.
And you can really see how ambitious that was when you look at the production team. The writers, Danya Jimenez and Hannah McMecken, I mean, talk about a challenge.
Yeah.
Weaving together Korean mythology, complex music sequences, and relatable stuff about, being young and under pressure.
That's a lot to juggle.
It is. And then you have Sony Pictures Animation co-producing with Netflix. And the animation, Sony Pictures ImageWorks.
ImageWorks. Okay, so the Spider-Verse studio.
Exactly.
But right away, you're expecting something visually, groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Especially with dance involved.
And what's really fascinating is how they use that visual power. They created this really unique look. You've got the super realistic, neon-drenched Seoul streets.
Yeah, love that look.
Which double as battlegrounds sometimes. And then you have the magic itself. The duels, they aren't just fights. They're staged like these incredible dance battles, like high-energy concerts, but with, magical stakes.
But wait, how did they manage the tone? Because K-pop is so polished, right? But fans also love the goofy behind-the-scenes stuff.
Yeah.
Did they use that Spider-Verse style for that too?
They did, yeah. And that's, I think, a huge insight into why it worked. They had this dual visual style.
Okay.
You get the slick, high-production concert stuff, but then it blends into these moments of really expressive, kinetic, almost stylized combat. And even, like you said, playful chibi-style comedy bits.
Okay.
It mirrors the K-pop world itself, doesn't it? That mix of extreme professionalism and then these, sudden bursts of personality that make the idols feel real.
Yeah, the duality.
And they use that stylized animation to show the internal struggle, the emotional weight of the fights, not just, endless realistic action.
That makes the stakes feel way more personal, even with all the spectacle going on. It definitely sounds like they didn't hold back visually. Which brings us to the core conflict, right?
Yeah.
And this whole mechanism keeping their world safe.
Precisely. So we meet the main group, HuntrX. You got Rumi, Mira, and Zoe leading the charge.
The heroes.
Yeah. And their big secret, they're demon hunters. But here's the key thing, the mechanism that makes the story tick. Their K-pop music, it actively maintains this magical shield called the Han Moon.
A protective barrier.
The Han.
The Han Moon. Okay, so it's not just like a force field. It's tied to the music.
It is. And the sources are specific here. The Han Moon is powered by the collective belief, the joy, the whole emotional vibe of their millions of fans.
Yeah.
Their excitement, their hope. That's literally the fuel. So the group's success as musicians is directly linked to, keeping humanity safe.
That's a brilliant setup. Because if the barrier runs on good vibes,
then the enemy has to attack the source of those vibes.
Enter the demons.
Right. The main threat emerges from this overlord Guoma. And he needs a way to fight HuntrX on their own turf, so to speak.
Makes sense.
So he finds the perfect weapon, really. Gino, a human idol who'd kind of fallen from grace. Very complex character.
A rival.
Guoma recruits him, helps him form the Saja Boys, and their goal isn't just to top the charts, it's way more sinister.
Okay, what are they trying to do?
They're basically trying to weaponize negative K-pop. They want to outshine HuntrX, sure, but specifically to drain the fans' energy.
Drain their energy.
By creating music that fosters doubt, disillusionment, maybe even sadness. They want to lower that positive emotional frequency that keeps the Hanmoon strong, corrupt the fandom itself.
So they're attacking the power source directly?
Yeah.
That's clever, like narrative weaponization of fan culture.
Exactly. It taps into that idea that collective negativity or betrayal can be more damaging than just, brute force.
Okay, but here's where things get really intense, right?
Mm-hmm.
The sources talk a lot about the internal conflict. It's not just about outside demons. Rumi, the leader of HuntrX.
Yeah, Rumi, the charismatic center.
Her power starts to weaken. And it's tied to some kind of secret.
It is. This is crucial. We find out her weakness comes from a hidden demon lineage.
Whoa, okay.
And that lineage directly threatens her voice, which is the actual source of her magic for the Hanmoon.
So her identity is the problem.
It's this deep internal terror. She's terrified her friends, her bandmates, or worse, her millions of fans will find out. She thinks they'll reject her.
And that reject
Could be catastrophic because the Hanmoon relies on that collective trust, that purity of connection, her shame, her fear. It becomes a genuine threat to the world.
that pressure, that fear of being exposed, that feels very real even without the demon part, like the pressure real idols face.
Absolutely. And the sources really praise the cast for pulling that off.
Yeah. Who stood out?
Well, Arden Cho as Rumi, definitely. She had to show that star power, but also that gnawing fear underneath. And on Hyosoup as Jinu.
The rival, right?
Yeah. He had this tough job of playing someone working for the bad guys. But you still had to see the hurt, the humanity, the feeling of being betrayed by the idol system that maybe led him there. That nuance was key for the payoff.
Okay, so you've got this ticking clock with Rumi's voice failing, her secret. How did the Saja boys use that? It all comes crashing down at the Idol Awards, doesn't it?
It does. The climax is brutal emotionally. The Saja boys time their sabotage perfectly, right, during this massive live performance. They publicly expose Rumi's demon heritage.
On stage.
On stage. The fallout is instant. You see the betrayal, the shock. It just tears HuntrX apart right there.
Yeah.
And you feel the Hanmoon waver, metaphorically and maybe literally.
That breakdown moment where the heroes are kind of their own worst enemy for a second.
Mm-hmm.
That's classic storytelling, but needed for the resolution, I guess.
Exactly. And that's where Junior's arc really lands, isn't it? His redemption.
Was he the key to fixing things?
In a way, yeah. His journey is the flip side of Rumi's. He finally sees how destructive Guima's path was. And in that final battle, he makes this choice. He sacrifices his own soul to restore Rumi's power fully.
Wow. So he chooses the light in the end.
Proving his loyalty wasn't totally gone. It's that powerful idea, right? Mistakes don't have to define you. Your choices, especially the final ones, do.
That's a great message.
And that sacrifice allows HuntrX to reunite. But not by hiding Rumi's secret anymore. They perform this new anthem.
The big finale number.
Yeah, and it's all about self-acceptance, about truth. Rumi embraces her full heritage, demon side and all, and her power surges, creating an even stronger Hanmoon than before. They defeat Guima, they defeat the Saja boys.
So it's not just cool fights and music. The film delivered some pretty deep themes. Identity, acceptance, redemption, and the sources mentioned cultural pride too, how they handled the Korean folklore.
That authenticity felt really important. It wasn't just like borrowing cool monsters. They had cultural consultants. To make sure the mythological details, the symbols, even the look of certain demons or magical wards were grounded in actual Korean tradition.
Right.
It gave it weight, and showed respect. Audiences, especially in Korea, but globally too, really responded to that.
Yeah, that makes a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of response, let's just circle back to how massive this thing was. Record-setting, you said. Netflix's most-watched original film of 2025.
The numbers are staggering.
Yeah.
And the music, the soundtrack just took off globally.
Which tracks?
Well, Golden, that was Rumi's big self-acceptance anthem, huge hit. And even the Saja Boys track, Takedown, this aggressive diss track, charted like crazy too.
Nice.
And they smartly brought in actual K-pop stars for collaborations, like members of Twice did some vocal arrangements. That gave it instant cred.
And crossover appeal, for sure. Then there was that sing-along version. That broke records, too.
Yeah, which sounds kind of wild, but it ties perfectly into K-pop fan culture, right?
Yeah.
K-pop fandom is active. Fan chants, light sticks, learning dances. It's about participation. The sing-along version basically invited fans to be part of powering the Hanmoon themselves.
Well, that's brilliant.
Watching the movie became this collective ritual, reinforcing the film's themes in the real world.
Genius marketing, basically.
Yeah.
And I heard there were tons of Easter eggs for hardcore fans.
Oh, yeah. They definitely rewarded the devoted viewers. Little things like posters for real K-pop groups hidden in backgrounds.
Nice.
Someone even noted that one character, Bobby, his phone screen had tiny references to, like, classic K-pop songs from years ago, stuff only deep fans would catch.
It's those little touches plus the consultants that make it feel like a love letter, not just, cashing in.
Creates trust and builds a world people want more of, which is good because the sources confirm, yes, a sequel is already on the way.
All right. Wow.
Fast-tracked. And a short film confirmed, too. Sounds like they'll introduce new rivals, maybe dig even deeper into some lesser-known Korean myths.
Okay, they built the foundation. Now they can really explore.
Yeah.
So wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway for everyone listening?
I mean, K-pop Demon Hunters is just this killer case study in how to blend cultures successfully.
Yeah.
It proves you can take a specific global subculture, K-pop, mix it with genre filmmaking, and make it work if you have that universal story underneath. Belonging, identity, the strength in collective belief.
Well put.
And maybe one final thought to chew on, tying back to that Hanmoon barrier.
Okay.
The idea that collective joy and belief literally create power. It makes you think about how fandom energy, that massive collective focus, is both incredibly potent and maybe kind of vulnerable. If a magical defense system in a movie relies on the fans' emotional state, their hope, their trust, what does that suggest about real-world situations where massive collective energy, like in fandoms or social movements or even political unity, what happens if that gets deliberately destabilized or weaponized?
That's definitely something to think about. What are the vulnerabilities when collective feeling itself becomes a target?
Exactly. Something to mull over until our next deep dive.